Mark Tatum, Deputy Commissioner and COO of the National Basketball Association.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here with you all.
Dr. Richard Lapchick, thanks for being with us here on R&R on Sports.
Thank you for having me.
Civil rights icon, Dr. Edwards, how are you today?
I'm doing a heck of a lot better than I deserve, I'll tell you that.
Sports commentator, Scoop Jackson.
Good to be back on with you all.
Ian Griffey Jr., how are you today, sir?
I'm good. How about you guys?
It's R&R on Sports.
R&R on Sports. R&R on R&R.
Hello and welcome to R&R on Sports. I am Howard Robertson.
And I'm the great one, Larry Robinson.
And back again, man. How you doing?
Hey, brother, we doing it.
Good to see you.
Good
to see you.
Good to be seen.
You ain't lying.
Hey, man.
And not viewed. That's what we say in the Afro-American community. I don't know why we can't say certain words. Why we have
screet,
to, huh?
Like screet,
scrimps, her, over, and community. Yeah. So anyway, lots happening, man. This is playoff time.
Before the playoffs, I thought this would be one of the greatest playoff seasons ever.
Mm-hmm. Before the playoffs.
However, what I have noticed is that I'm beginning to think more and more that the NBA is rigged. I really am.
Oh,
I really am.
Listen to you.
And the reason I say that, is because several of the games, several of the matches were 3-0. And whenever it seemed like there was going to be a team to run away with the series, the NBA every year does this. It first quarter of the next game, everybody on the starting five of the team that's kicking the other team's butt gets into foul trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Every single game. I mean, it's almost like clockwork.
Okay.
It disappointed me, but what also was disappointing for me is because the teams weren't that competitive. So you got Miami and Atlanta, nothing. You had Philly and Toronto, which I credit that whole thing to the NBA. Because that is not a matchup. I know they'd realized that Joel Embiid is injured and all that, but still, man, Toronto ain't got no business with Philly.
All right, here's the big question.
Okay.
In order for things to be rigged, that means people have to be involved and complicit. Talk about who's involved complicit.
I just think it's the refs
in this.
I just think it's the refs
rigging.
It's the refs and the league. I think it's the refs in the league. And mind you, I love the NBA.
Teams.
No, I don't think. I think it's the refs and the leagues. That's why you got coaches like Taylor Jenkins coming out and saying, this is embarrassing. And then you had Doc Rivers. You've had several coaches come out and knowing that they're going to be fined, and talking directly about how the games are being officiated.
Mm-hmm.
And you got Monty Williams. Monty Williams never complains about anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's the most mild-mannered, tremendous ambassador for the league. And he's coming out saying, wait a minute, man, we are just telling truth. These games are being poorly officiated. And I have to agree with him. They are, man. All I want is consistency. If it's going to be hard, if it's going to be hard fouls, let that go both ways. Let it go both ways. This thing with Karl Anthony Towns and how they watched the replay, and then they decided that not only did he not charge, he was fouled before, and all. I'm just like, man, this makes the game look shaky.
Don't you think the replay has something to do with it?
It does. They keep
where the whole world can view.
They keep saying that, but a lot of times we're watching it, and they call something different than what we see. So I mean, it's just so nebulous. It's so it's just all over the place, and we don't have a way of really believing that the games are really what we're seeing.
I'm laughing because when I think about the concept of coaches saying something that they know they're going to get fined for, it reminds me of back in the day when particularly black men, knew that they were going to go out and get drunk and get rowdy and be out of control.
Uh-huh.
In one pocket, you would put your beer money, your whiskey money, and your money for the gals or whatever.
Uh-huh.
In the other pocket, you put your bail money. Knew you were going to be needing that. You did not spend your bail money.
That's the truth.
That's what had to get you up out of jail. But yeah, I mean, that's interesting. That's an interesting concept. We're going to talk more about teams and playoffs and all of that on the other side of this. You're listening to R&R on Sports on the Kazukian Network. We'll be back in a minute.
Yo, this your boy Chris Brown.
David West of the Golden State Warriors. Hey, this is Dr. J.
This is Shaq Adocious.
Yo, what's up? This is Ice Cube.
And you're listening to a little R&R on Sports.
Blues in the basement. Hello.
And the lyrics of the blues songs like Bobby Rush can sometimes be a little risque. We just got the music on.
Blues.
Instrumentals.
Loving it.
Blues in the Basement. Get together, let the good time roll. Part of the Kazukian Network.
Good morning and welcome to the NFL pre-draft money management seminar. Most of you in this room are about to sign some very lucrative contracts, and this session should be extremely helpful in making important money management decisions. Our first speaker is Mr. Uncle Regis Robinson, and he'll be speaking to you about ways to support your community. The podium is all yours, Mr. Uncle Regis Robinson.
Well, good morning, everyone. And today I want to talk with y'all about how to support your community with all this money y'all about to come into. So I want to give y'all 3 important tips on how to manage your money and support community. And y'all need to take notes on this now. Number 1, always get your check and get it cash. Get your money in your hand and have them counted out. Now go down there to Willie Earl's liquor store or whosoever the name is of the store in your community that's been cashing your mama and your drunk uncle's check for years. They'll cash your check and count it out in your hand. Now, Uncle Willie Earl or whosoever might have to write a few hot checks to get the cash to cash your big check, but don't worry about that. He know what to do. And make sure you get about $5,000 in ones for walking around money. You know Stankin' them gonna be asking you to let them hold something. Plus, you can make it rain like hell at the club for Luscious and Big T-Tonia. Keep that money in your community. Number 2, don't put your money in no bank. Bury your money in the backyard. First, you invest in a badass dog. Now, Percy Joe done bred up a male pit bull with a female gorilla. He calls them pit-rillas. Buy you 1 or 2 of them pit-rillas, and up under the doghouse, you install this. See, this is the Uncle Regis Underground Money Vault, patent pending, complete with sound system, a safe, lighting, and a table and a bar. And the front door is the floor of the doghouse. Number 3, don't move to the suburbs. Stay in your community. Take the money from your first check and buy up Pookie's, Ray Ray's, Nuck Nuck, Boquishas, and Quinterius' in them houses. Knock all of them down. Then build your house and then build you a mall. Put in a nail shop, a weave salon, barber shop, shoe store, and sell some lottery tickets and your own personal museum. Woo-wee, it's gonna be something else. Thank y'all very much, and please see the representatives in the hallway for your check cashing card and your reservations for Pit Rillas, the Money Vault, and the real estate rep.
You're listening to R&R on Sports. And don't forget to subscribe and rate our podcast. Go to iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or any of your podcast providers.
Riffin' on jazz.
So all the artists today must be ladies.
Must be.
Oh, my favorite.
You got a problem?
No, that's my favorite.
See, I knew.
Riffin' on jazz on the Kazukian Network. Kazukian!
Welcome back. More R&R
on sports.
So here's the question. Broad question, general question. Do super players make up super teams?
Super players make up
superstar players.
Superstar players make super underperforming teams. So we can take this. We got the current example of KD, Kyrie. You can go Ben Simmons,
in absentia,
whoever, James Harden. You can go on and on there. Then you can go with LeBron, AD, Russell Westbrook. You can go there. But let's take it back. Let's take it back to the Houston Rockets when they brought on Scottie Pippen, Charles Barkley, Clyde Drexler, Hakeem Olajuwon.
Yeah.
I mean, you had that team.
Okay.
Failure. You go back to Los Angeles Lakers. I think it was Kobe's rookie year. You had Kobe, Eddie Jones, Nick Van Exel, I want to say Eldon Campbell, Shaquille O'Neal. You can go on and on in there. Failure. They failed.
And what do you consider? Well, let's be clear. What do you consider failure?
Then you go back to the Lakers. Wait a minute. Then you go to Lakers. The Lakers with Shaq, Gary Payton, Karl Malone, Kobe Bryant, blah blah blah. Failure. So I mean, it's like you can go and look at when they've taken these teams and made them and pushed them together, all these superstars, and it never works out the way that you would think it would.
But Larry, you got to be clear on this failure thing. You can before you just stand.
Failure is less than
a championship.
Less than championship, less than going to the conference finals.
Well, some of those teams did go to the finals.
They didn't go to conference finals. I don't think Shaq went to conference finals that year. When they lost to Utah when Kobe shot like 4 air balls. They didn't go. I don't think that was a conference final. I can be corrected on that. But let's look at the day. Shoot. KD and Kyrie were swept.
Yeah.
LeBron, AD, Russell Westbrook didn't even make the playoffs. They didn't even make the play-in.
To what do you attribute this?
I think it's that you don't have a good chemistry and a good mix. I think you need role players. You need role players. And because of the NBA salary cap, the way the salary cap is that you got 2-3 guys making $50 million. Everybody else is on league minimum or player exceptions. So with that, you can't get those valuable role players. But look at a team like Dallas. Look at a team like Dallas. You got Luka Doncic. Ain't nobody else making max. Ain't nobody on that team making max. Everybody else has got good salary, good contracts. You got Hardaway, who's hurt now, but you go around the horn. You got Brunson, who's stand up, but he's playing for a contract. And then look at Memphis Grizzlies. You ain't got one player on max. You ain't got one player on max contract.
And they play together extremely well.
Right. I mean, and you can
like each other.
Shoot, look at Toronto. Ain't no player on max. You might get Pascal Siakam, might be close. You got Van Vliet. He's not on max. So I mean, once again,
so what happens to the chemistry, do you think, when somebody in the next year or the next year, when you got max players and whatnot and folk at the top of the heap in terms of that, do you think that changes the chemistry?
I don't think the money actually or having max players change the chemistry. I just think having that well-rounded group, I look at the Los Angeles Clippers. I believe Los Angeles Clippers have been constructed in the most beautiful way. And that, barring injury, they got great coaching staff, but then in addition to that, got great leadership, ownership. But you have, Paul George, you got Kawhi Leonard, and then you got those likes of Robert Covington and some others that, that play that great role play. You got to have those 3-and-D guys. And the only way you get those, because they're at a premium because there's so few, you got to give them decent money. But if you are so heavy, heavy, like say the Lakers got 3 players making over $35 million a year. I mean, that's ludicrous to me. You gotta have a better spread, and you gotta have more fiscal what do you say, fiscal
equity,
responsibility, and knowledge in order to. But you see these GMs that seem to do it exceptionally well. Look at Golden State. Golden State got how many players on max? Two. That's it. Two.
Okay.
They had 2 guards on max. Dre ain't on max. Draymond ain't on max.
Okay.
Everybody else is role players.
So help me here. I'm struggling because I know it takes more. It's about more than income. I know it's about more than revenue. So what are some of those other traits that championship teams have? That special sauce that championship teams have above and beyond money.
Okay, well, so let's look at some of the later champions. When you look at,
look at Milwaukee.
Okay, Milwaukee, you got
current champs.
Oh man, my goodness, you got Middleton. You got what's the kid with the 2 other brothers?
You got Drew.
Yeah, Drew Holiday. You got the Holiday boys.
Yeah.
But the Holiday, then you got the Lopez, Brooke Lopez.
Yeah.
I mean, you got those other players. You got Grayson Allen. You got, you have those other players that contribute at a great level that ain't.
Is it a role play thing? I mean, must they know their role in terms of that?
I think so. Portis, shoot, Lord, you cannot not mention Portis because he's been such a valuable piece.
Yeah.
I mean, but you have that. Think about how valuable Andre Iguodala was to the Golden State Warriors in their pursuits for championship. In fact, I think Andre Iguodala won most valuable player and wasn't a max player. I mean, so you got players who I just think that when you have those great GMs, the Sam Presties of the world. When you have those great GMs like Ware out in Golden State, I just think that those guys understand how to take that money, that salary cap money, and disperse it in a way that allows them to be able to pay some of those role players outside of minimum money, and are able to get maximum effort out of those guys because of the situation they put together.
Well, I think what we all understand the concept of Moneyball, where players are put together based on the combination of certain stats,
right,
and all of that. But I think somebody somewhere is playing personality ball. Is playing.
No. Well, see,
psychology ball.
Well, when I look at the
to make
Brooklyn
sure
Nets,
there's certain personality types and whatnot,
I think these are
all driven the same way.
I think that's when the teams are run by GMs. But when you got players picking players, you end up looking like the AAU team that the Brooklyn Nets look like because Kevin Durant picked the coach, Kevin Durant and Kyrie picked the coach, and they picked everybody else. And then Kyrie comes out and says they so good they don't need to be coached. But then when you look at them play, they look like an AAU team. They playing ISO ball. They ran not one single play the whole second half. And I didn't know about the first half, but the whole second half when I was seriously paying attention to see how they were going to get Kevin Durant off in game 4, they did not they didn't run not one single play. This was AAU ball in its full glory.
Right. We have a great show today. We have a great interview and a great guest. You guys, he is legendary. He is literally legendary. And the smallest legend of the NBA of all time.
Smallest NBA player in history.
Smallest legend of all time. Right here, only on R&R on Sports. Some of y'all know who we're talking about, but in case you don't, you better stick around because he'll be with us right after this. R&R on Sports.
Got a little tongue tied.
What did I say?
Human Speed with Kirk Whalum.
Avery Sunshine, I am just overjoyed to spend some time with you.
Listen, what you know about pot liquor? You from Memphis, so you know.
My favorite part of all of that, I'm like, don't throw that away.
Humans Being with Kirk Whalum.
Kazookian Blues in the Basement.
This is Malvin Massey here with you, along with my girl.
Cookie Beat, baby.
Cookie Beat. Good to see you, darling. I love it. We get to do this show every week.
Yes, we do.
I don't care if you're young or old. Blues in the Basement.
Get together, let the good time roll.
Part of the Kazookian Network.
Hello and welcome back to R&R on Sports. So, the reason you guys listen to this show, in addition to the wonderful repartee,
they listen because of me. They listen because of the great one. That's the only reason. So
doing stand up. Doing stand up. All right. Don't be Chris Rock up in there today.
I tell you what, I won't be Chris Rock. We're gonna be moving some furniture around in this.
Yeah, I won't be turning my back and walking away either.
Come on, man, and do something.
All right, man. As always, we have only the best primo guest on R&R, Muggsy Bogues.
Thank you.
What's up, fellas?
Excuse this boy here. Muggsy, welcome to R&R on Sports, brother.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate this.
Well, we like to first start out with the journey, bro. You started in Baltimore. Give us a little bit, the little, Cliff Notes version of your upbringing in the area you were raised.
Yeah, it started all in the inner city of Baltimore, growing up in Lafayette Projects, man, trying to navigate through that, whatever I was faced with in terms of atmosphere, in terms of the craft that I was trying to pursue in terms of the game of basketball, just trying to navigate through those, adversities, I should say.
Tell them how you got introduced to basketball.
Well, I got introduced to basketball by giving the ball by my godmother at the age of 4 years old. But then, being able to hang around my sister and travel with her and being able to be blessed once I met a man by the name of Mr. Leon Howard, who taught me that game of basketball, myself and Reggie Williams, who was fortunate enough to make it all the way to the NBA as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was the beginning of it. When you get like I say, when you give a kid information, tell them what he'll do with it.
Absolutely. If they can see it, they can be it. Listen, we're talking with the great Muggsy Bogues.
Now, wait a minute. We got to get it straight. Now, he was not named. That's not his given name. Muggsy is a nickname, and that ain't what his mama named. Mama named him Tyrone.
Yeah, Curtis. Mama named him
Tyrone Curtis. TC.
Right.
He was
right.
TCB.
You need to know.
He was TCB all his life, taking care of business. Tyrone Curtis Bogues. There we go. Now. I do my research too.
All right.
See, so don't be trying to test me.
You did a little reading.
So listen, man, you played on one of the greatest high school teams ever. In fact, I believe you guys had 3 NBA players on that high school team. Is that correct?
No, we had 4. We had 4.
Okay.
4.
We have 4 on the team. Myself, the late Reggie Lewis, Reggie Williams, and David Wingate, and we had 3 of us got drafted in the first round in the same draft, which made history.
Wow.
That has
from
never
the same
done.
high school.
From the same, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that was kind of mind-boggling.
Man, I mean, I know you're in contact with Wingate and those guys. Do y'all ever spend any time together, reminiscing and whatnot?
Well, back in the day we did, but now, we more or less just talk about what's going on in today's society in terms of that regard. But Dunbar is not in the same light that it once was. The basketball program is not to where it needs to be. Right. So it's kind of hard to get back to kind of support them in that regard. But we always will support them in all, going forward. But it's just not the same.
Why? Talk about that a little bit, Muggs. Why?
Well, it is about generation in terms of areas. It becomes a cycle. Kids get and plus today's, people in terms of recruiting and luring kids at other schools where we came up. We live right across the street from the school. Right. So That was a neighborhood school. But, you know, it's different times. And I think schools now have different challenges for kids that meets their needs,
right.
As well as meet their craft and can still be a student athlete at the same time. Mm-hmm. So, you know, with this, the way how people put attention into it and, you know, investing in these kids today, you know, become a business, so to speak. And these kids got to be very prepared in order to, you know, be able to manage their way through it.
What was the thing that lured you to Wake Forest?
Well, the opportunity in terms of the challenge, you know, where I came from, of course, you know, Baltimore and North Carolina was two different culture shocks.
Planets.
Yeah, you know, but it was an opportunity for me to kind of grow, especially being where I came from, like I said. But, you know, it was a great situation. You know, playing in the ACC was the best conference in the country at the time. And, you know, playing at Wake Forest and knowing that was going to give me an opportunity in terms of academically if things didn't work out. You know, it was a very private academic type of school. Mm-hmm. So it was more or less giving me that balance that I needed in terms of if things didn't work out. And plus, my mom and them could just turn on the TV every weekend and watch their baby play because they couldn't afford to be traveling.
There you go. Yeah.
Now, you came up with one of the notorious projects of Baltimore. For those who don't know, you think about The Wire. It's very similar to the environment that Muggsy was brought up in. What did that era and area give you that you still that propelled you to be successful in life? You know, they look at the city as that all negative, but what did that community give you that fueled and propelled you to be the success that you've been in life?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I got friends to this day that's not just an athlete that was able to manifest their way throughout that environment that we was faced with. I mean, for me, you know, the challenge of diversity that I was faced with early on to give you that confidence and that understanding. You know, I got shot at the age of 5 years old, being at the wrong place at the wrong time. And I think that, again, allowed me to not care about what people said about me or what they thought about me. And that allowed me to really stay on my path and be able to be the guy that I wanted to be. And having that vision, believing that I wanted something more than I was faced with. And I wanted something different for me and my family. And having that strength and having that understanding how to be able to understand the streets. And then, you know, you equate the book smarts and being able to study and understand how to, you know, being able to understand the system that you dealt with and how to be able to, you know, make your way in, you know, any type of adversity faced with, how to make your way through it. Mm-hmm. So having those two components, you know, allowed me to, you know, understand life a lot more and allowed me to understand people a lot more and to deal with folks a lot better. And
you're listening to Muggsy Bogues on R&R on Sports on the Kazukian Network. Muggs, when did you, I mean, obviously prior to being drafted, at what point did it click in that the NBA could indeed be a reality for you?
Well, I think really in '86, when I took part in the U.S. World Games, when we won a gold medal, when we went over the only last team as a collegiate to win that gold medal before we lost in '88 in the Olympics. Then they sent the Dream Team in '92. Then all professional players been going over ever since then. But I think from that experience and being successful in that atmosphere, on that platform, on that stage, gave the NBA scouts, you know, a belief that maybe so. But I think it really changed during the combine when my senior year, when we had to go to those camps.
Right.
Me and Scottie Pippen, we was projected to go, you know, certain part in the draft. I was projected to go late in the first, early second, and he was projected to go late in the first round. But after our performance in those camps, it put our stock at a higher level where I became the 12th pick and he became the 5th pick.
Wow.
Speaking of combines, here's what I want you to do. I want you to tell the world, again, if somebody, especially for the younger folk that don't know, tell them what your vertical is or was.
Oh, yeah, well, you're right. You say was. Yeah.
Well, none of us got the same vertical, even if it was just jumping up about 2-3 inches.
I was documented with a 44-inch vertical.
44.
Yeah. You know.
Now listen. Now see what you. I remember Muggs and Dunbar team coming to the King of Bluegrass tournament in Louisville, Kentucky. You guys were barnstorming. Y'all were like a barnstorming pro team. What do you remember about those experiences playing around the country as the number one team in the nation as a high school senior?
It was a great experience for us, and we thank Coach Wade, Cole Harley, for that opportunity because it prepared us moving forward, being able to travel as a high school team, but knowing that the type of talent that we had on that squad, I mean, that was the key because it could have went either way, in the direction where, egos would have got involved and so forth. But having a leader like him allowed us to stay eagle, our feet on the ground, focused, and knowing what the task was at hand, and being able to do that. I mean, it was such a great time to being able to go around and whip folks' butts at an early age.
All around the country. Listen, this is Iron on Sports, and we are speaking with the great Muggsy Bogues. But when we come back, we're going to talk about when Muggsy poked on somebody. And we're going to talk about these young boys of today. Could they make it in his day? So listen, stay right there. We'll be right back on Iron on Sports.
Hey, I'm Williams Brack, co-host of Grind Set. The insight you gain from us and our guests will motivate you to take the leap into entrepreneurship. So stay with us. What's your grind set? And if you happen to miss some of our episodes, make sure to check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast provider.
Grind Set on the Kazukian Network.
Back for more on our own sports. Back on Kazukian with the great Muggsy Bogues. So we talked about high school.
Now, hold on. Before you get there, I want to know, just like I did when we set it up, I want to know when you took off on somebody and poked on them and they looked around like, did I just get dunked on by a cat that's 5'3"?
well, actually, I never dunked in the game.
Really?
Yeah. I never dunked in the game. I always laid it up. I always kind of finger rolled. I always kind of had that opportunity in practice.
No, you could.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
well, tell us in the park, at practice. Give us one of those stories where you just rose up and just jammed on a mug, and he was like,
"Well, jamming was never my thing. I was able to catch one in practice, when it comes off because my hand was so small. But I couldn't really palm a basketball. Spud was the one that could palm it and get up there because he was 5'7". But I had to catch it really at the right moment, and I could take a volleyball and just go up and poke it at any moment. But the basketball had to catch it off the timing and where that sort of thing. And then quite a few in practice where, shooting free throws, where you kind of ran in and got that and been able to, have that part of your journey, I should say. But it was, dunking wasn't my thing. So I ain't got many dunking stories out there.
Okay. All right.
A lot of finger roll stories.
Yeah. A lot of George Gervin type.
Yeah. Looking back at you, knowing that I just stole it from you.
Okay.
So you were selected in the first round, number 12.
The lottery.
And by the Bullets.
Yes.
Okay. And that's pretty dadgum good being a kid from Baltimore. They can come see you on the regular. Talk about what it was like, and you signed for a good amount of money at that time. Talk about what that was like, for a kid that came up like you did, and now all of a sudden money is not an object anymore.
Oh man, it was the day I got drafted, hearing your name being called and having that opportunity being the first, small guy being able to go up and shake the commissioner's hand and put that hat on. That was a surreal moment. And now you're in a position where you can do things for your family and not have to worry about, the repercussions of it. Being able to give my mom her keys and her to her first home, and to see the expression on her face, that was priceless. Nothing would ever take a man that that vision that I had from him. So it was great.
This is Our Own Sports.
It was awesome.
We're speaking with the great Muggsy Bogues. Muggsy, in addition to that, you did something that I want to commend you for. Is you took the time to get a better attorney for your dad. Can you speak to that a little bit? And what did that mean to you?
Well, that meant everything. I mean, having the opportunity to be able to do that. I mean, for one, because he had a little time left on it, but he was doing good in there in terms of good behavior. So the senator was able to get the judge to get him out a little earlier. And I mean, for him to be out to see his son play for the very first time, because he'd been in there when I was 12 years old.
Oh, wow.
And, then here it is, being at a game and a professional game, let alone to be able to be there and witness his son, take part of that experience. I mean, it was great for me and great for him as well as for my entire family.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's excellent. That is excellent. So talk about a little bit about the character and the personality of the NBA back then. How was it? How was it to be out there, on the road, and at home? What was the spirit of the NBA like then?
Oh, it was a man's world back then. yeah.
Go James Brown.
Yeah. I mean, because we was kids coming out. I mean, even though we was like 22 years old coming into the league, but you got to keep in mind, a lot of those guys, they was young when they went in, and then all of a sudden they was 28, 29, because kids stayed in school a lot longer.
Right.
It wasn't a one and done. So back then, you had to pay your dues and, had to carry the projectors and all that sort of stuff because you was a rookie. Moses was my guy, so he had me under his wing, Moses Malone, the late Moses Malone, I should say, may rest in peace.
Yeah.
So it was a physical league, very physical. I mean, different from today. And you had to earn your way. But again, we paid the dues for them, just like other guys paid the dues for us. And you can see where the salaries are today.
I got to tell you something. When we were working together back in the day, I remember talking to you one time, and you were somewhere, and I said, "Okay, so where you stay?" I don't know if I had to send you something or what. I said, "So where you staying?" And you kind of paused for a minute and said, "The Four Seasons." Like, where else would I stay? What, Motel 6?
Where was I at? Where was I at? I had no clue where was I at that day.
And then I got to thinking, where do millionaires stay?
Where do millionaires stay? Yeah.
Four Seasons.
What was your best time in the NBA? What the time when you look back on the most favorable of your experiences?
They all. I don't put one over the other. I mean, the 14 years, the season that I played, it was, it was a blissful. It was very grateful in terms of building the bonds with your teammates. I mean, the guys that I still keep in contact with today. And that's what NBA is all about. It's a business for one, even though we enjoy it and this is a hobby and a passion that we love, but it's also a business, and being able to build those bonds and relationship with those, with the players, as well as the folks that's in the organization, that's breathtaking.
Now, looking at the salaries that these young guys are getting today, they built that on your back, and you and others from your era. Is there any thoughts that any resentment there, or is there any desire to get it back engaged with the NBA in a more prominent role to take advantage of those riches that seem to be happening now versus past?
Well, no, I think every era pay its way for each era. So, I mean, the guys before us, as well as we did for these guys today and so forth. I'm still involved with the game. I'm still the ambassador for the NBA as well as an ambassador for the Hornets. So, and every position has its, price tag in terms of what is comfortable for you. And I'm comfortable right now. I'm good at what I'm doing and all the flexibility that I have in terms of my movement and my movement in terms of what I want to do. So that's the most important thing.
You got some national spots on TV now too. Where did I just see you?
MGM.
Oh, MGL. Oh, yes. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
he and Clyde Drexler.
You and Clyde to Glide. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And then they got that one on the NBA
y'all
playoffs.
collected high-end autos, right?
Any means necessary.
Whatever means necessary. Yeah. That's excellent. That's outstanding. So talk about what you think about, generally what you think about now, but not just the league. I want you to focus on the position. Because I think you and others, other point guards of prominence.
Nate Archibald, Chris Paul. I mean, you can go down the line.
Each one of y'all added something, a dimension to the position. What do you think about the position today?
Oh, I think it's in well hands. I mean, you look at the young stars today, the Ja Morants, the LaMelo Balls, the Trae Youngs. These guys that's coming on there, the little kid Maxey over in Philadelphia. Players are always going to evolve, and you're going to have those other players that, understand how to continue to be stars and then become superstars. And I think they are on their way, getting this experience in the playoff and having, guys, Chris Paul still there, Stephen Curry. Right. You got so many guys that elevate this game at their position. It's amazing to see where it's come now because you got so many scoring point guards today as opposed to back in our era.
Well, that's a great segue because I was going to ask you, we've moved to a more positionless game. What's your thoughts on that? And is that something you like versus previous, structure of professional hoop?
Well, guys are more talented today than it was back.
What you say now? You're gonna have some problems with your colleagues.
It's the skill set. It's the skill set. It's not the mind. We was more smarter and more understand. It's the skill set. That's why you got 7-footers able to dribble the ball and up the court now and shoot threes and all that, as opposed to the 7-footers playing with their back towards the back at doing that. Right. So the skill set is changed dramatically to where these guys now equipment is much better. They have access to more things. There's always going to happen to that in terms of the growth of the game because the thing is going to continue to get better. But I love what is. I mean, it is what it is right now. It's like the league want more scoring, more entertainment as opposed to the defense stuff. But I love the way the referees are calling this year's playoff because it's a little more physical than it was in the last several years.
Yes, absolutely. Where do you see the NBA going? Because we didn't see this Stephen Curry shooting from the logo era coming upon us until it was already here. What's the next iteration, in your opinion, of the NBA or basketball?
Well, I think, you can't get too gimmicky about the game. The game is going to speak for itself. So I think as they continue to clean it up, make sure the rules are intact, the game stay within itself in terms of the physicality or letting them play a little more, I think that will be more where they go to. The game is a global game. I mean, this thing has been where now we got a lead over in Africa. So it's going to become just that to where it ain't going to become just the NBA championship. You may have a global champion, national. So that could be where the game continue to evolve. But this game, man, is so many kids that's dreaming and believing all over the world out there working on their games. And again, it's going to just keep getting better and better because that's how much the skill set will continue to improve.
Anything you want to talk about and tell the world about relative to what you're associated and affiliated with now, or what you're doing, special projects or anything like that?
Well, two things. One, I want to say, I just released my book. I just released my book out April the 12th called Muggsy the Kid from the Projects to the Godfather of Small Ball. And so they can find that on Amazon.com, of course.
Okay.
It's my second book. My first one I put out was In the Land of Johnson in '93 when my pops and one of my good friends Reggie Lewis had passed away. Yeah. But this one is more of, I had a little more opportunity to live. It's a lot more substance. It's more about heart. It's about relationships, with my current players, with the former players that I played with. Me and my wife, divorced for 10 years, and then we married again, found our way back, which is kind of unusual. Right. Giving back to the community, my foundation as well, that I want to talk about, the Muggsy Family Foundation, where we help to empower at-risk families and at-risk youth and families by addressing food insecurities and access to education and job training.
Beautiful. What's that website on the foundation?
MuggsyBogusFamily.org, MuggsyBogusFamilyFoundation.org.
There we go.
All right. Muggsy, thank you for being here with us on R&R, man. And we come back to you. We want to have you back. Always. And so at this time, you got to just say one word. Yes.
Yes.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Only on R&R on Sports. We appreciate you, brother.
The great Muggsy Bogues.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
And we will be back for more R&R on Sports on the Kadzukian Network right after this.
Human Speed with Kirk Whalum.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome, now I'm going to say my friend, Jonathan Capehart.
You came up and tapped me on my shoulder and you said, I'm a big fan. My name's Kirk Whalum. And I just about jumped out of my skin because I was like, wait, Kirk Whalum is saying hi to me? He's a fan of mine? Get out of here.
Human Speed with Kirk Whalum.
Welcome back to R&R. Before we go to the door, we always like to bid people adieu.
Adieu.
And that may be because they no longer assume residence on this side of the dirt,
right,
or the grass, or because of some outstanding thing that we want to recognize. So
that they did on this side of the dirt.
That they are still doing on this side of the dirt. And that's where mine is coming from.
Okay.
I was born it, and raised it in Memphis, Tennessee. I would not have wanted to be born or raised anywhere else at any other time. I tell people this. No, not Louisville.
You're not envious of Louisville, Kentucky?
No, I'm not. And this place is very special. It's got warts. It's got idiosyncrasies. It's got boogers. It's got snot. It's got nasty stuff. But I love it. But I love every part of it. And I want to say
Memphis is gutter, in other words.
This is the only place on the planet where you could have white, black, young and old, male and female, rich and poor, in equal zest, with equal zest
and full
voice
and unity,
up going, whoop that trick. Go Memphis,
man.
That's my
whoop that
out.
Trick. I'm rolling with you, brother, because I'm telling you that. Let's go out. Listen, producer, we going out with whoop that trick. Come on, give me 20 seconds of whoop that trick. Go.
Whoop that trick. Whoop that trick. Whoop that trick. Whoop that trick.
You've been listening to R&R on Sports on the Kadzukian Network. We appreciate it. And first chance you get, any chance you get, pull for them Grizzlies, all right?
Whoop that trick. Ow, whoop that trick. Hey. Hey. Hey.
You've been listening to a little R&R on Sports, written and produced by Howard Robertson, Larry Robinson, recorded and mixed in Memphis, Tennessee.